and welcome to Spoonful of Simplicity English. What we're going to learn today is a love of all the Mumbaikars. It's called ladi pav, or we can also call them dinner rolls. Let's learn how do we make this special ladi pav that's exclusive to Mumbai. For that, we need some warm water. I've taken around 3/4 cup of warm water, and we're going to add some sugar in this. I've taken 2 tablespoons of sugar, and I'm going to mix it well to make sure that your water is warm enough that it won't kill the yeast. You can dip your finger and check that it does not burn your finger. If that's how warm your water is, then you can go ahead and add 1.5 tablespoons of dry yeast. I've taken active dry yeast, and I'm going to leave this to bloom for around 15-20 minutes, and this is how it should look after the 15 or 20 minutes. If that's not how you see your yeast, please discard this and start over again. Now in a mixing bowl, I'm going to take 1 kilo of all-purpose or refined flour and add 2 teaspoons of salt to this. Now we need to knead this, and to knead it I'm going to use a stand mixer, but if you don't have a stand mixer you can also do it by hand, like we knead the dough for chapatis or puris at home. We first mix these 2 dry ingredients, and then I'm going to add some liquid ingredients. So in goes yogurt first, that's 2 tablespoons of, and refined oil that I have taken around 1/4 cup of, and we're going to add all the bloomed yeast mixture that we have to this maida mixture, and then we are going to knead this together. If because I'm using the stand mixer, I have added the entire thing at once, because the stand mixer is capable of kneading it this way. But if you are kneading it by hand, you can add it part by part, like we do when we knead the dough for a chapati. Now we also add 1/4 cup of milk to this mixture, and if you think that the consistency is not good, you can add some water, but I recommend adding only warm water to this. Now one point to notice here is that it's going to take a lot of time for kneading. In a stand mixer it took around 5 to 7 minutes, so by hand it might take much longer. But what we need is a very loosely kneaded dough, so something like the consistency that I'm going to show in a bit. So we want it to have a lot of water or the liquids, and we want to knead it really loose so that it can bloom nicely. See, this is the kind of consistency that we need for our dough, and that's how it is going to make a really nice and soft pav. Now the next step that I need to do is something that I'm going to do by hand. So I'm gonna get rid of this stand mixer first. So now what we need is to grease this. I'm using some butter. I've taken around 15 or 20 grams of butter, and I'm going to knead this with butter lightly, and then I'm going to also put that butter on the sides of this bowl, and then we're going to leave this batter, or rather this dough, for around 2-3 hours, or till it doubles, at least doubles in size. So I am going to cover it with cellophane paper here, but if you don't have a cellophane, please feel free to use a cloth, but cover it properly from all the sides. Now after having left it for around 4 hours, this is how it looks, and this has grown bigger than double its size. Now I'm going to punch it a little, and then very lightly I'm going to knead this slightly, just so that it leaves all the sides and it is ready to use. The next step is for us to just make it into small balls, which are going to eventually turn up as pav. But before we do that, there's a small step. We need to prepare our pan. So I am using a baking dish here, and in this is, first of all, I'm going to grease it on all sides using butter. You can also use oil. After that, all we need to do is make equal small balls of this dough and place them in line. Please make sure that between two of these there's some space, because this is going to bloom further with the action of the yeast that's inside it. And once it starts blooming, it's going to expand and it's going to take some space around it. So we want to leave enough space for them to expand properly. And this mixture that I have prepared, it should yield somewhere around 24 or the 27 pav. But if you want them any less or any more, you can adjust the quantities accordingly. Now, after having put them like this in 2-3 baking dishes, I'm going to cover them with each of them with parchment paper, and this is the second time that we are going to let them bloom. And this should again take somewhere around 2-3 hours for it to bloom up nicely and grow bigger. And in my case, again, I left it for around 4 hours, and after that time, this is how it looks. Now our pav are ready to get into the oven and bake. So there is one more small step that we need to do before we push them in an oven. So the very first thing is take out the cellophane or the cloth with which you covered them very carefully, otherwise anything might puncture this. And then we are going to do some milk wash, what is called a milk wash. So basically that is normal temperature milk, and you put it over these for them to form a glaze. With this, they are all set to be pushed in an oven. It needs to be a preheated oven at around 200 or 220 degrees centigrade, and these should take somewhere around 30 to 40 minutes to bake well. How would you know that they are baked well? Is once it starts forming a light brown crust, that's when you know that you can pull it out of the oven and they are ready. Once out, add a little butter on the top, grease it with some butter, and this will form again a very nice glaze on your pav. Now all you need to do is wait for them to cool down before you can start gobbling them up. What I did next was, after it was a little possible for me to touch it by hand, I loosened the sides and I took it out of this baking dish, and then I left it on a cooling rack to cool for some time. Now, I recommend doing this because it just helps it to cool down faster. But there is no need for you to wait. If you're going to want to eat it right away, this is when you can start eating. But if not, if you can also keep it for a day or two and it shall remain all right, and you can eat it whenever you like. Now please do try this recipe and let us know in the comment section how was it. If you have any queries, that's where you can ask us the questions and we'll be happy to answer. If you like this video, please hit the like button and share it with your friends and family. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe now and hit the bell icon so that you're always kept aware of what videos we post. See you next time. Bye bye.